Still got a couple, 2-3 minutes if there's anything that's quick.
Yes, so we will go ahead, I guess, and do the consent for permanent structure for Richard Meinika on the GRUESBECK. So this is a request for a driveway that will cross the GRUESBECK tile. It's going to be a gravel driveway, but I assume that they've talked about replacing the tile underneath the.
It's already been replaced, so everything is good.
So this is off the Humbarger 12, off of 109. And here's a closer view.
Yep, it was replaced in 2015, and yeah, we don't have any problems with them crossing it.
I believe I gave a verbal on this one, so you guys.
You better pass.
Yeah, if you will, make a look at it.
I move we go ahead and motion to approve the consent for permanent structure on the GRUESBECK as presented.
Second that.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the CFPS for the 232-000B GRUESBECK C. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
In the exact same location, REMC has proposed to install something.
Gas line.
Gas line? Or, okay, well, with a 2-inch conduit under the tile. It will bore it 4 feet under. I assume it's serving whatever house that the driveway is going to.
Yep.
I make a motion to pass the conduit under the GRUESBECK C 232-00B.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the RMC for the CFPS for crossing under the tile 4 feet under. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Those opposed? Sorry, motion passes. Okay, it's 9:05, so we'll start the public hearing. Our first public hearing is on the 362-000B KERCH C. The current assessment on that tile is $4 per acre and a $25 minimum, which makes it collect $3,554.66 annually. The proposed assessment that was advertised for the hearing is $40 per acre and a $200 minimum, which would up the collection to $34,567.76 annually. Look here, everybody was notified and they were sent out on July 2nd. They were all delivered, none were returned undeliverable. 2 inquiries, there were no written objections. It has 848 acres in the watershed with 28 assessments and 9 minimums. The current drain fund balance for the drain is $9,544.68. So, Max, if you want to give us a rundown on the tile.
Yeah, we're just looking to, it was replaced, at least they started it, I believe, over on Tim Lamley's property. It's already been under the road, and we're gonna hook on to the new and run 2,800 foot of 30-inch. It's just kind of the old tiles, I believe it's had its course and time to replace it.
What's an estimate on that tile you got?
We have 2,800 feet, I believe about 96,000 on that one.
And that'll take it out. And there's going to be several stages, right?
3 years at least.
Yeah, there's gonna be, it goes a ways, so, but we will be able to drop down further, you know, we'll get out so far and start dropping tiles size and should be able to go further with less money.
Okay. Any public comment on this drain?
How far is it gonna go all the way?
What's that?
If it stops or starts at Dick Kyler's, how far is it gonna go to the east?
We're gonna run it until we get to good tile or no one else wants any more tile. I believe Brady Wright is up on the top end of that, And
I know he is.
he's got some tiles and some water running that way, so he would like it to get clear to the top.
I was gonna say, it should go, make sure it goes through, the Hour Farm, cause there's holes back in there
Yep,
to
it's,
drop truck
it's,
in.
yep, it's gonna go through there, so.
That should have been done years ago.
Yeah, and that's why we raised the assessment and, you know, started moving forward on it.
It'll be phases. I mean,
Well, I
we
think
can
that-
collect several years and then do that phase, just.
Brady already told me it's gonna be quite 2 years till it gets to 400.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know, how many years you think it's gonna take to get that far?
I don't have how many years was planned, just depending on, you know, our tile size and elevations. Once we get up there, we haven't got all the shots up there, so where we can drop down. Of course, that'll make a big difference from 30-inch down to 18 or 15. I believe we'll probably end up with about 12 up on top, I believe, so 10 or 12, I can't remember.
I know mine's 14 in and 16 on the outside going through me.
Yeah, we won't, nothing will be reduced. In any case, it'll all be increased, the size.
Where will that take it to, like to the next Y, is what you're thinking, or how far are you?
Oh, the first phase?
Yeah, how far we get? So you're starting down here on,
Right on 400.
The first phase goes to the east end of that little woods where that green is.
okay.
Yeah,
So
right there.
that was replaced, as you can see, in, I think it was 2004. Through that area. We're not sure what's gonna have to happen yet once we get that far, what kind of shape the tile's in, if there are any tree roots, or if we have to drop it down to get our cover or elevation from starting point.
But it's just been replaced a little bit here? Or
It just made it, I believe they started here right at the ditch and made it
Right,
under.
that's right, yeah.
Under
Started there.
400, yeah.
It started the open one, about 20 feet or 30 into our property.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll hook on there and, what is 2,800 foot, Brad, do you have?
Strike line real quick.
Let's go from 400. So yeah, it must get us that tile. There you go, so it gets us to, right to Lauer's property, I believe.
Hours, yeah.
Lauer's, yeah.
So you think 30 inches is what it's gonna be for a while?
Once we get, well, they put 24 in there, so wherever they come up with their figures, and we pass a couple of the non-tax tiles, so, we may be able to drop down sooner, or at least right there where they ended the 24-inch.
I might just make a couple comments.
Yeah.
I'm not against the recent assessment. The only thing that gets me, assessment's higher than the property tax, but that, you know, I've owned that for 60 years, and so, and probably the 60 years we probably made 20 repairs on it, but I mean, it's junk, I agree with that. But like I said, I don't think we need to go back, change that there where it's green there, do that, because that's 24 inch. It's not very deep, but that's really low. And once you get up on ours, it all goes uphill, so there's no problem getting grade on that part. So, yeah, but you know, we lose crop about every other year or so in that low ground in the bottom there. And that's why we really don't farm that much back in that one part. I had a CRP, but it's not anymore. But there's a lot of water. There's you know, I can tell you about every drain that drains into that thing, and I know where a lot of the water comes from. So my only thing is, I'd like to, or somebody be, I don't know, I'll be around here anymore, but like to be somebody involved in, from us to kind of help you when you get to studying and how you wanna do it, because I know a lot about that.
Yeah, no, we'll get our elevations and we can
Yeah.
contact you or whoever and
Yeah. So
see what else.
It needs, there's no question it needs repaired. And it's gonna take a lot of money. That would do. And the other thing, I'd like to see what the total costs are gonna be, so we know kind of bit how much we're gonna figure.
Okay, yeah, we
And
can,
that's the only thing that I think we maybe got the cart before the horse a little bit, but I realize you gotta get the money to get started, so. But it definitely needs done. It's gonna be a long time. Another thing, I mean, that really goes through a lot of our crop ground, so we need to work with us so we don't tear up crops, either do it in the fall or
yeah.
in 2 years, one patch will probably be in weeds, so that'd be a good year to do it if we can get things around that
Yeah,
quick, so.
yeah, we tried to do it either before or after crops.
Yeah, so.
Unless the landowner says otherwise, so.
And we talked about it the other day,
Yep.
but I just wanna let the board know what our feelings is on it, so we're not against it, but we just like some input in on it, and like I said, that down in there, it's not very deep, but like I said, that's so low down in there that I don't think you gain anything by, I don't know how much grade you can gain, but I don't think very much, but that's pretty flat. And up there by the road, that's really deep, so.
Okay.
Are
I
you
guess.
keeping the trees off of it through that woods then?
Yeah, well, there isn't any trees on, it's all been cleared off, except a little point right there, just where it goes into, where the green starts, it's a little spot there. But I've killed all them trees, so
Good.
I'm not saying there might be some roots in that, but it would, when that hole was added last summer, that tile was running clear full, so I know it's getting, we're well within about 6 inches of the top, but full as it's gonna get. So I know the water's getting to it, so, but it's been cleared off. We keep up mold on top of that ditch, so it don't give you seed, so.
You might say your name for the record too, Dick, for the video. I keep forgetting that we're video. Just state your name.
Richard Guyler, 4200 South Raver Road.
Yep, thank you. Yep.
Thanks, Dick.
Any more public comment? I forgot we're supposed to have you come up for the video if you want to say anything for her.
No, I'm done.
Okay. All right. Any discussion from the board?
I move we move ahead with the 362-00B KERCH drain to raise the rate to $40 an acre and $200 minimum.
Second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we go ahead with the proposed assessment on the 362-000B KERCH C drain to the $40 per acre and $200 minimum. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Okay.
Takes a lot of money to do them big
Yes.
tile.
Yeah, when they're that big.
Okay, we'll go on to the next consent for permanent structure.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay.
The next one is another utility one. They're doing fiber optic along 950 East under the Smith drain. And I assume they're boring 4 feet.
No issues?
Nope.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we go ahead and allow the consent for permanent structure on the GRUESBECK C to 232-000B.
I think we're on the Smith. We're on the Smith.
Or Smith, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm on the wrong page
Yep,
again.
that's
Okay,
good.
Gotcha.
Is there a
I'll second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the consent for permanent structure on the 653-008B Smith Avenue. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, the next one is another driveway. This one does not cross the drain, it just gets close to it. It's located up north again, north of Columbia City, west of Airport Road on the EGOLF. Wait, did I go to the wrong? Nope. And there you go, there's the drain, the proposed driveway, and it just gets closer.
No issues?
Nope, he's just gonna put in his drive and we already know where the tile's at, so be 30-foot permit.
What's your wishes, guys?
I motion we pass the request from Tyler Coffelt on the 146-002B Golf M2 number 2 drain. To install a driveway 30 feet from the drain.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the CFPS for Tyler Coffelt on the EGOLF M2 drain. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
The last one is submitted by Kevin and Janet Farlee on the GANGWER drain. They propose to put a fence across the drain. We're in Union Township here, kind of south of Steel Dynamics on 400 South. And they have the fence listed as removable in case we need to maintain the drain. But it crosses the non-taxed GANGWER there, and it gets close to the taxed GANGWER H. 29.
Were they putting a gate at both ends of that?
What's that?
Were they putting a gate over that? Did I?
I think Max has more.
They were putting removable
Ropes?
Yeah.
ropes or posts or something so we can get in there. They're familiar. We've had to do some work on that. We're gonna have to do further work down the road. So they're all familiar with where it's at and what they need to do.
Okay.
We'll have access to get in there, no problem, so.
Okay.
May have to remove some posts if we have to replace that tile, but they're aware of that.
Yeah.
If they drive a post through the tile and we have trouble, they fix
Yeah,
it.
we should be, I mean, we know where that tile's at pretty much, so we should be 10 foot away, we should be in good shape. But yeah, we'll know real quick if
It may be deep enough.
a tile gets in there, or a post gets in there, because it'd flood right there at probably 400 East. And
Any knowledge where that non-taxed one is? I mean, do we?
yeah, I don't know exactly. I don't know right now, but you could kind of see it before. And I think, if I remember right, there's either a standpipe or possibly a catch basin through there. But you could see kind of how it goes through the yard.
Okay.
So it shouldn't be an issue.
All right, guys, no issues to report, I guess. So what's your wishes?
I'll motion that we pass the request by Kevin and Janet Farlee to install electric rope fence over the 203-029B GANGWER drain.
Second.
Yeah.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the request to install the electric rope fence by the Farleys on over the GANGWER H29 and the GANGWER H30. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Looks like we're to owner-funded pre-construction.
This one has been requested by the petitioner to be postponed to the next meeting.
Okay. Then we'll move on to other business. Scott Wagner, I believe.
So last meeting, we presented this drain petition by Scott Wagner. It's located at kind of the intersection of Maury and Page, Raver Road. Looks like I deleted the line, but I'll draw it in real quick. And this is the approximate watershed. I do not have it drawn to the river unless we install perforated tile on that part. Otherwise, the water on this parcel here just would drain into the river. But approximately the drain kind of goes like this. As you can see, there's approximately 19.7 acres of a handful of parcels there. And my line didn't show up very well, but that's about it. I think Max had a chance to go look at it.
Yeah, I went to the open ditch, found the tile first. I mean, that's all I could really see. I walked the whole property. I didn't see any suck holes or any indentations that, you know, looked like would be problems. There are a few spots that there are a couple pine trees that are probably awful close. You know, pine trees typically don't root down, but we have had pine trees in tiles. It's runs kind of close to a house or two there also. If we ever would have to replace the tile, I think we would probably want to move, you know, we'd have to move away from those houses. Because I don't know exactly where it's at, but if we think it's real close, it's, you know, so we would end up, you know, setting it out 25, 30 foot and then tying in whatever they have, if they have basement drains or whatever they have. So I don't see any problems with it. I mean, we haven't added a tile since I've been here, so I don't really know what we do afterwards, but I don't, like I said, at this point, I don't see any problems with it. I see it as, you know, helping quite a few people through there. I do know that, you know, there's some paved driveways and, you know, it's getting rid of all their waters, but this one time Scott had to pay for it all, so, I don't know.
What size is it?
It was
8-inch
probably,
clay.
what's that?
8-inch.
It was 8-inch up by you.
Yeah, it's
Coming-
8-inch all the way until it gets on the, all the way to the river.
Yeah, okay.
So it's been dug up, we dug it up at, opposite my property line on Shrubs where we replaced the pipe with STR 35, and then also on Doug's Trader's property. They dug it up so they could pressure wash both directions. And it was still 8-inch clay on Doug's property.
Jenny, do we know what, I mean, obviously Mr. Shipman's not here. Do we know what
Right.
protocol is to proceed?
It's laid out. The next point would be him submitting a petition, and then there's public notifications that need to go out, and then we would hold a public hearing and go from there.
So we talked about if it was favorable or unfavorable on the tile, is that right? So
Right. I also had a chance to do up a spreadsheet that can mock how much we would get for the assessments. Currently I have, well, let's see, what did we do for the last, we'll do 40 and 200. $40 minimum and a $40 annual and $200 minimum. I can't quite read that. So. And that totals out right there at about $2,000, I think. That's it.
Yeah.
My eyes are failing me. So
That's what they collect.
that's what we would
So there's
collect.
not very many acres in this.
Right. About 20 acres, I think. And you can see that there are a fair amount of the parcels calculated at 0, because if it's less than 0.1 acres contributed, it gets zeroed out, and that's been the way it's set up for years. So,
there's not gonna be much money in there.
and even at $40 per acre, basically everyone's paying the $200 minimum. So, and we can play around with that. but.
Could take a long time to get much money to do anything.
Right.
Scott Wagner, 1936 East Page Road. One good thing is the last time it was repaired was 1985. So we got 40 years out of that repair. So hopefully we wouldn't have much repairs and we'd be able to stack some money in that account until you get something else. Again, it doesn't see but car traffic over the driveways. Mine doesn't see any traffic on my side, but so. There's some there, but again, it is deep, so, like Mike said, I do believe that the closest point of that tile to the property or to a house would be the Schroeff's property. It's 8 foot off the basement, according to the deed. Other than that, that's a fairly good distance from other houses. Any questions for me at all? If you were to give a fair pass, I will go get an attorney as required in the state code and have that official petition submitted to the board.
I don't think we can, I mean, we can't stop you, I don't believe, I mean, that's.
Well, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I mean-
I don't spend the money, you guys are like, no, we didn't work for it anyways.
I mean, it's,
What's your opinion?
I mean, it doesn't, I don't think it's gonna hurt us anyways. I mean, it will help any of the property owners, plus Scott, at least going through that tile.
Sure.
That way, you know, they're all paying for it, you know, like we normally do, rather than just one parcel or one,
Right.
like I said, I don't know if we'll have any problems. We could collect our 4 years. We sit on $8,000 and wait for a problem or no problem. And then at that point, you know, if we did have to do a full replacement or something, we would ask the board to go in the red for a few years and, you know, get it done. But
Like I said, when Wygents went through and they have a 2-inch pressure truck that they push through there with a metal tip on that forward and backward, so they clean that tile out. And they started at my property and went good 300 and some all the way into the Deer's property there. And then they went on the Doug's property, went back again all the way through Deer's property onto Shrove. So they were at least be able to clear that with that pressure line, and that was just back in April. So I know right now it's decent.
yeah, we may not have any problems with, you know, it's got good cover, it's old tile, it's, you know, there's not heavy traffic going over it. You may never have to do anything with it.
You're not wanting to replace, just get some money on it, so if we have more problems.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, I'd like everybody to share the burden, is basically what I'm
Right.
saying.
I believe there was a tree or two through there. I don't know what, they kind of look like mulberry or kind of a scrub tree on one of the properties. I'm not, if it was Schroeff's maybe.
Strauss has the pine trees there on the edge, and when we dug that up at the property line, we didn't see anything. We were
Okay.
able to get through there really easy. There was no resistance at all going to that point. He has another pine tree on the, you see that big pine tree there on the east of his house there. But then on the Deer property, which
Yeah.
you actually see that 1846, they got a couple trees, but they're pretty good distance, and they're big trees.
Yeah.
But they've never had an issue out there that I know of. So in the ponderosa pines you see on the last parcel there before the road, they've been there probably 80, 90 years. They're big trees, so they probably don't have any
Yeah.
issues there either. So. We pulled all of our trees out, so there's no more trees on my side there. That's within the property, or within the tile area, so.
So I mean, if someday that it is replaced, I mean, with that depth, I mean, you gotta ballpark what that would cost. I mean, and then we're gonna have to relocate it and everything else. I mean,
We are, you know how many feet that is, Brad?
How long
Could you
is-
measure that for me, please?
Thanks, Mama Mouse.
It's about 100
And
feet.
if we're 8-inch now, if we did bump it up to 10-inch, I don't know what it would need on size offhand without my slide, but
1,100 feet. I'm sure you
just curious. I mean, there's only gonna be $8,000 in there is all we could ever have in there. So I was curious what it'd be.
in today's dollars.
In the
well,
red.
you're at $3,600 in pipe, and then at that depth, you're probably at least 12 $12 a foot. So you're 13,000 in labor, so
I mean, it's not.
$18,000 maybe,
It's not-
20,
it's not
20,000.
A year in the red or something.
Yeah,
not
it
unreasonable.
wouldn't be a couple years. Wouldn't be out of reason. But
I got rocks around my point there, where that goes to standpoint, so I make sure that it's filtered before it gets in there. We keep the grass away from that, and we don't throw the mowing clippings in there or anything.
the only thing I really saw that was, okay, so I think there was 1 or 2 paved driveways maybe.
Deers and shrubs both.
So in the way we are set up now, when we cross a paved driveway, we don't pay for the pavement to be put back in, and they pay for the stone under the driveway also. That's just the way it's kind of been, and that's the way I keep it. So I don't know, Jenny and I talked about, since the driveways were already there, would we possibly pay for their, that section of patch or whatever? I mean,
I guess my assumption is that most drains are older than any asphalt driveways or concrete driveways. In this case, the paved driveway would be before the county regulated drain. And so we have an obligation to maintain the existing condition when we take over the drain? That might be a question for Matt.
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be a question for him.
but
I mean, it's no different on trees or any, they're different. So I don't know. Yeah, that'd be a question for him, I would say. What the right thing to do there would be.
I guess I don't see it as an expense to us to go ahead and put it in as a county drain.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
if it helps them out.
I'm okay. I mean, I think we have,
I
go
think-
ahead,
yeah,
go
I
forward
think-
with the hearing and see what happens.
Okay,
Yeah.
I agree. Get started on that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. Okay, we'll move on to the engineer's report.
Okay, so the first thing on here is the Cume Drain Fund update. Last time I was asked to get the ordinance from Elkhart County to see what they have. They still have not found it to provide to me, so. But aside from that, I have since learned that Cume funds are what are called tax levied funds. And there is a certain amount of those, and a certain max amount that the total of those funds can be assessed at. And pretty much anything that goes into county general falls into this tax levied fund. And since we're maxed out, if we wanted to increase one, we'd have to decrease another one. So the option of replacing watershed-based assessments with Cume Drain Fund is pretty much out the window, because reducing the watershed-based assessments does not count as reducing a levied fund. So it's like trading apples for oranges. So that is basically probably dead unless the council thinks otherwise, but I doubt it.
It's fine.
However, there may be a possibility, and this would need more discussion between myself, the highway director, and the commissioners, that if the Cume Bridge Fund gets high enough that it's beyond what we're using it for, we may be able to decrease it to increase a Cume Drain Fund and basically have some extra money in there to help with drainage, both on legal drains and maybe on other drains that aren't necessarily collecting money, like non-taxed legal drains, or drains that help the highway that aren't necessarily county drains, stuff like that.
Okay.
Just options to explore.
Okay.
So it's kind of a dead issue right now.
The replacing watershed assessments with the Cume Drain is more or less dead, yes.
Yeah.
But the thought of trading bridge money for drain money to help out, I haven't asked around much. So.
Yeah. I guess I'm not real in favor of the Cume myself, I guess. I kind of like it the way it is, and it's your drain, it's your money. And it might be a little slower, there's an advantage because you can do a big project all the way, but this board, I'm sure would regulate it good. How safe is it down the road? What's gonna happen to some of these boards and who will be in charge. You don't want it like Allen County where the commissioners, they kind of go for anybody that's in the building process, you know, they get the money, and farmers don't get much money out of them. So that's just my thought. I'm not sad to what you said, I guess.
I think it opens up a world of ethics where now if somebody needs their drain fixed, they come to you and say, well, there's not money, how do we get the money in there, you know? That's how we're gonna fix it, where if there's a big pot there, somebody says, hey, let's get this drain fixed, well, you know, you owe me for that, you know, there's a lot of ethics concerns that, I mean, we can't do favors when there's not money there, so I mean, I like that portion of it where you're paying for what's yours, I mean, that's.
I agree.
But I do realize that we could fix a lot more if but, you know, we gotta tax a lot of people that aren't benefiting from that drain if we went down that road, so.
And so my idea for trading bridge for drain money would be whatever we increase the QM drain fund, would decrease the QM bridge fund that exact amount. And it would be exactly the same to taxpayers, it's just a matter of which bucket the money goes into.
I mean, I think there's probably merit there where, you know, if that drain affects the highway, I mean, there might not be money in there that we can do anything to fix it, that would probably be some merit there to look into that portion of it. Okay. Anybody else? All right.
The second thing under my report is the Columbia Realty #2 drain. That's the drain on the west side of Columbia City that crosses under the railroad track. This is the one that was split into two that we have recently recombined across the Drew Farm property, which is right here. It's trying to label 10,000 different parcels all at once. I heard back from the railroad, and they sent me a preliminary engineering review agreement for $30,000 that we would be responsible for, just so that they can review the plans. I have an email out to Matt Shipman asking about the state code that says railroads have to pay for half of drain crossings underneath the railroad. We'll see if that has any, power behind it.
Teeth?
Yeah, any teeth. So, I guess I just wanted, before I give them, they asked for who was gonna be signing that, before we move forward with that, I just wanted to bring up that cost, cause that's gonna be more than the crossing and the clearing of the, trees and brush across the railroad. But it is probably the next spot that is clogged and is holding up the drains, so.
Yeah, we have some big cottonwoods in there and but it's all on the railroad property through there, so we can't really.
You don't dare even touch that, do you?
No.
We can clear it under just a right-of-way entry agreement, which those by themselves cost $4,000. Plus, we would probably have to pay for a railroad flagger during the construction or clearing, and I don't have a rate for those, but I'm guessing they're not cheap.
You gotta pay them $4,000 to clear their trees, is what you're
Yes.
saying?
Mhm.
Plus our contractor, plus, like he said, the railroad precautions for dropping trees or whatever.
How much money was in that?
I don't.
We have in there
Yeah,
right
a
now
lot of money
with
out.
spring taxes that came in, we have 24,000.
Paid for the bottom chunk of the tile.
It now
Pardon?
costs 21,000 since we raised it.
From the ditch to the railroads
All this
replaced.
red right there, we paid for all that.
Replaced,
Right.
but it
That's
does.
not county.
uh,
That is a county.
Yeah,
It
they
goes,
took it off the tax,
I think it goes to a private tile, I think.
Yeah,
But-
this tile
That's
right
what
here
it
is
is.
old, that's been in for a long time. This is all new, probably in the last 10 years.
You
Put
put
it
it
under the
yourself.
ditch. Yeah, we paid for it.
Do you bore under the railroad if you're gonna replace it?
I would think so.
If you're touching the tracks, that's gonna be all railroad. They'd have to design it and construct it and then send us the bill. So,
They're-
it would be probably cheaper for us to bore under.
Right.
Yeah.
Do they have to design that too?
I don't think so. This is just an engineering review fee. So they look at our plans, verify that it won't damage the railroad at all, and then send us a bill for $30,000.
I thought it's
I mean, we have
I
to,
think we should charge them 30 grand for clearing the trees then.
but we do have a lot of water that stands back in that addition, and we have to keep moving forward somehow. I mean,
What's the
Is there any
assessment?
money in that fund?
What's the assessment on it currently? Like, what does it collect? The minimums and the?
We raised it, last, 2 years ago, I think it was, so it collects 21,000 now, and we raised it to 20 and 200.
How much, how big acreage is it then?
That
It goes up into those houses then, right?
yeah.
How does Columbus City pay on that? Just a flat fee, don't they?
For the part up to the railroad right away here, and then after that is basically the Drews.
So all them houses don't really have a $200 minimum on
The
them.
city pays it, yeah.
They do have?
Yeah,
They pay.
pay
It's
for it
just-
out of their storm.
A
their
lot of
storm
houses
sewer.
in that one there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cause you said it collects 20?
21,000 now.
Collect 20,000.
Just for our permit is 30,000. I mean,
That's not the permit. That's
Or
the
the-
permit's an extra 4.
yeah. So 34,000 just there.
So
Plus,
if you wanna fix it, what we gonna,
Is that out
we
of?
gotta spend the money.
Is the railroads out of city limits, or where's the line for city limits?
It's right on the big purple line here on the north edge of the railroad right away is the city boundary. So. This portion of the watershed is it's over here. It's 113 acres.
Is there a reason why they didn't hook on to the Phillips up here for some of this? See the Phillips C up there?
I
Is there a
don't-
reason
I don't-
why they didn't hook a section onto that?
don't know.
Because Westgate's had drainage problems for 30, 40 years probably.
My only guess would be topography, but you know, pulling it up here, it looks fairly flat. So I don't know how to answer that. It's possible that the drain precedes the railroad, but that would be digging into some records that give me a headache to read. We could try.
Well, if it's gonna cost 30 grand to go under the railroad, it might be cheaper to hook onto that other tile and go that way instead, if that's a decent tile, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think with that, we'd have to look at it starting from here, because there's a couple new detention ponds in here that feed into the tile.
Yeah.
That we probably shouldn't overlook, so we'd have to take those that way. Starting at this low spot.
I'm assuming they bore under the railroad tracks?
I don't think so.
We believe so.
They bore on us all the time. You should go just stay back in that field and bore right under, don't worry about it.
Right? I think they just wanna make sure that we don't need a big void and then we have a deflection in the railroad tracks.
I get it.
So,
I don't know. That's a lot of money to have a chance to spend more money. So how do we?
If it needs fixed, it needs fixed.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess how much is the city gonna throw at it then?
Well, the city just pays they basically pay all of their residents' portion of the assessment instead of us charging them, the residents individually. They just,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, the city will pay for all their expenses.
So are they paying like a $200 minimum for each house if the city's footing the bill?
Yeah, so each assessment just adds together, and that's what the city pays.
They ought to chip in a little more as much as the property taxes are in town.
So if they do this engineer's report, that's good for a month or for 5 years or?
I think it's whatever plan we submit to them, they okay it, and that's what we're paying for, is they're okay with our plan.
Yeah. I'd say talk to Matt, see if there's anything we can do. Obviously, I mean, we can go in the red if the board wishes to do that, since it is collecting, but there's gotta be some type of total dollar amount to get there, so.
Right, so hopefully we can, get the plan approved, and then we have to save up enough money to do the project as well as pay for the permit, because the permit itself, the right-of-way entry permit, has like a 60-day expiration date. It's not very long, so you have to be ready to go with your project when you get that permit.
I'd say talk to Matt and see what we can get them to pay and get out of it, and then come back to us with the total cost, and they can make the decision then.
Yeah.
Didn't the city get a bunch of grant money to do, because they're putting sidewalks and all that, and the storm drains or whatever? Shouldn't we have got some of that money if we're fixing the tile that the storm drain goes into?
That was community crossing funding, I believe, is what they're using for Westgate. And I don't even know if they considered the drain. That was their outlet for their pond, and that was it. So, I am not sure how or if county legal drains qualify for community crossing funding. If community crossings is one of the most flexible ones, but it also there's only certain things you can use it on. So I have to look into that more. Now the city is also having a terrible luck with this railroad on their trail project, because the railroad has to design and construct the railroad crossing on Line Street, and they haven't even seen plans for it. They just keep getting bills from the railroad. So, and their whole trail project will probably be done except for the railroad crossing, which they'll be waiting on the railroad.
I've heard that a lot lately. There's some other stuff going on that seems like it's not real punctual on returning. So. Yeah, I guess just try to get us a total dollars, what it's gonna cost to get through there, the best guess, and how much we can help with, whatever Matt thinks.
Okay. I will add in one thing. You may have noticed on the agenda that at the top that you are all listed with your term dates and a note under saying that all members were appointed by county commissioners. This was a new law that went into effect July, that all boards have to have this information posted on their agendas and any public notifications that go out. Okay. That's all I have.
Okay.
Field work?
I believe the first part is they completed spraying last week. I don't believe there was any issues. Chad did call in, talk to Jenny about the buckeye trees that we do have growing along the ditches. He says they are getting worse, and I have noticed them. They would like to get those under control. We've talked about it a little bit before. I believe he told Jenny he was going to try to figure up some kind of action plan and the cost, whether they just have a couple guys and have saws and drop down in and cut them and then, probably tort on them and go from there, but they are getting worse for sure. They spray them, they turn golden brown. I mean, they look dead, but you go up to them, they're still green on the inside. So it just affects the exterior of them, so it's not getting into the roots. So
Have we gotten any quotes back on like them maintaining the tile? Or have we not heard anything?
We haven't asked for quotes or anything yet.
Okay.
The latest I did was try to look at how many of the locations could be added on to the ditch spraying, and I think there was 1 out of 20, so it didn't seem worth it, but then I think what I was gonna bring up, if we wanted to go ahead and put out for quotes from a couple companies, show them the locations and kind
trying
of
to
the low impact requirements and see what it would be.
get a quote for spraying those tiles. I mean, we have a lot of them. We come up every week. I come across another one that I call Jenny and say, hey, let's put this on the list, because just one I haven't visited yet, and then I get there and they need to be sprayed or mowed, or we have a couple of them. Had a contractor today call in. We're gonna mow another one. We have sent out a couple mowings last week to get them pushed back because the property owners don't mow them back. So we will get those hopefully mowed and then get those on the same spray program to try to.
Who's mowing them?
Sheets called in. We have one that he's gonna take care of. Spencer has mowed a couple of them. I don't have, I haven't used anybody else besides those 2 guys. They both have bush hogs for the front of their skid loaders, and then Spencer has a forestry head for his, so he can get some of the bigger stuff.
Yeah.
We have one that Nick called in about here, I think a couple weeks ago, to Dave. We just sent that out. I went and looked at it, and we're gonna get it knocked down, but just the little saplings and everything grow up, and it's just an expense.
Well, I think it's a good thing, even if we're mowing them,
Yeah.
if we can't get them sprayed, at least mow them and do something.
Trying to get them knocked back and maybe kill some of
Spray
the
them, maybe
roots.
it'll kill them off as to
Yeah.
mow them, they're gonna be back.
Yeah, and I think
every
that's
year.
what Chad said. I think he would mix something a little different, or
I think he said he would do that, plus he, in the past, has used basically a side-by-side that skirts along the edge and gets back to spots so it doesn't tear up fields and lawns.
so. But so yeah, we're still looking into that. We'll try to get some estimates, and then, like I said, we'll bring it to you guys as soon as Chad gets back with us, some way of a figure on how per hour rate, couple men, I don't know. We don't, how long it takes is, each ditch is different, how steep it is, how hard it is to get down, get back out, and what they're gonna do with the trees once they, some areas, there's nothing right there, so do you throw them in the waterway, or do you push them into the next section of woods? They see them all because they run every one of our open ditches. And
Did they say like certain parts of the county are worse, or it's just spread everywhere?
I
Our whole
believe,
county is pretty
yeah,
bad, they say one of the worst, yeah.
it's getting worse. I mean, just in the past couple of years that I've been here, and now that I know, and Chad took me out to show me which ones they were, and so we're gonna have to do something with them, unless we're gonna end up, all these invasive trees, and now we have to come in and clear them once they're, grown up. And so.
I did turn on the locations. I think this was a month too old. All the little red dots are the stretches of tile that I had mapped for spraying. So.
Yeah, I have one I want to add to the mow list.
Yeah, and that's something we can do at any point. Just comes up weekly which ones we're gonna add to it.
Does Matt send out a letter ahead of time that we're gonna be in there mowing, or?
We do. That's why we try to at least get a work order put on it, and then we
Okay.
can send out a letter saying that we're gonna be doing work there, mowing or whatever. So we we don't know. A lot of times they don't reply back, so we just do it to cover ourselves. Sure. After that, we just have a few that we would like to talk about to look into increasing the assessments here. The first one would be the GOBLE E number 37. Watershed is 53 acres. Right now it collects $858. Basically, we would just like to raise some of these for maintenance on them. So I guess in order, the first one would be the GOBLE. We'd like to 53 acres and like to look at raising it to 40 and 200. At that point, it would only collect $2,500. Still won't collect a lot.
I think it's something that somebody's requested work on, or that we've had to do work in the past. Or?
Yeah, that one
This
is.
one,
which one's the one?
Dan Michael and Ron Anderson, Ron Anderson has the long driveway. So Dan Michael normally will repair a lot of them, but they had another repair that needed to be done near the drive. So if we can raise it, and they were okay with trying to just get a little bit more in there, so that we could do some maintenance if needed.
Okay. Sounds like there's a need. Do I have a motion for public hearing on this one?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we hold a public hearing for the GOBLE E number 37 at the advertised rate of $40 per acre and $200 minimum. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
Thanks, Jenny. I didn't have my notes on that one. I found them now.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay, the next one would be HINEN H. Same thing. Brian Emmerich recently purchased some property. We did do some work out there replacing 900 foot of 10-inch and 8-inch tile. There are a lot more. There's, I think there's 3 or 4, looks like 3 other legs off of this. They're all the same drain though. So we had root problems, and there's just a lot of it that needs replaced. So we're just kind of basically going for maintenance on these two.
Is the watershed right on that one? Because it's the same as the one.
Yeah, I
before.
just saw that. I doubt if
Oh,
that's
yeah, look
right.
at that. Probably wrong.
118 acres.
Okay.
How much?
118.
Okay.
I had a typo.
But the collection numbers should be right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I move we go ahead with the hearing on the HINEN 307000B as presented.
Second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we go ahead and have a public hearing for the 307-000B HINEN H. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
And our next one would be the RUCKMAN F 582-000B. This is out by the Whitco, I think, School Academy. Recently we've had some new tile work done in the past, and then we have went out. We had more roots. It's one of those things that the woods is still too close to the tile. The tile was replaced. Let's see what this is. In 2015, you can see it running along the woods. We pulled out many sections of tile, 15-inch. It was half full. They're getting in each seam, each joint. So I don't know. The property owners didn't really request it to be raised, but they call me with a lot of problems. So, we're in the red already. It's not gonna collect a whole lot. We're gonna have to do some more clearing. And at some point, we have the property to the west that's across State Road 5 that floods. And once that tile breaks down, that's the old part of the tile underneath the road. They're gonna want it fixed, and they're gonna wanna know why we can't. So I believe we need to raise the assessment there also to 40 and 200. And at least it'll collect 55, 65.
So did you say that some of that was replaced in 15?
Yeah, so the red line
And it's still in
there,
the woods?
It's next. They cleared some, and now it looks totally different because maggots have came in and put a pond in here. So some of this is cleared out, but it's still just too close.
Yeah.
And they have a hard time understanding why we can't just reuse the tile. And I say it's just not that easy that you can pull them out and clean, so it is good tile, but it's just, we're gonna have more problems. And that's one area we'd like to put on the spray program also. Once you can see there's trees kind of all through there. It is a path, but it's not wide enough for sure. So we are gonna go and do some clearing and keep moving forward.
That's gonna eat up a lot of the money.
Google has 2025 imagery.
Nice. So there's not a whole lot, of trees that they're already cleared. They're just some big ones that need to be pushed back yet.
Where's the tile lay on there?
So this is the ditch here, I think, and then.
Yeah. So it runs.
They're driving trucks over top the
It
tile?
runs right through here.
Yeah.
They did come in here. They were off to the side of it when they were doing that pond. But, yeah, they hauled out quite a bit of dirt. But it was what has been replaced there. We went and replaced, I think, 330 foot here this spring. We didn't have much broke down clay tile. It was just all roots through there. So the trucks had not done anything to the tile. It was just all root problems. But when it does cross 5, we're gonna have,
They're pretty deep there?
it's about 6, 7 foot. Yeah, it's got good cover.
Okay, sounds like there's a need and the fund's in the red, so even at the higher rate, it's still gonna be a smaller collection.
Yeah.
What's the wishes of the board?
I move we approve raising the rate on RUCKMAN 582000B, $40, 200 minimum.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we raise the assessment, or have a hearing to raise the assessment on the RUCKMAN F to the proposed $40 per acre and $2 minimum. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
The next one would be the Smith CE number 1. We were out, we had a work order to replace a suck hole. Once again, we collect $5 an acre, $10 minimum. There's 288 acres. We had a heck of a time trying to find a good piece of tile to hook onto. They just break down, collapse. So we're gonna go ahead and look to raise the assessment here also at 40 and 200. It would bring in $12,728.
How long is that? Just for reference, roughly.
It was, thinking, the section.
Looks relatively short.
Yeah, the section that I found from the open ditch to the road is not really that far. Once it crosses the road, then we're gonna have to get into some clearing. The first section would just be a short.
So there's clearing too, that's what I was wondering.
There's gonna be some clearing. So the open ditch, so yeah, we started in here with the suck hole, and, it has been supposedly rerouted around the pond. And then we get over to the road, there's a little bit of clearing, there's some trees. You can't, I mean, there's a standpipe in there and you can't even hardly find it because of all the trees. I mean, it's just, things just get overgrown.
Mr. Chairman, I move we set the Smith C #1, drain number 645-001B for hearing. It's presented $40 and $200 minimum.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we go ahead with the hearing on the Smith C #1 at the proposed $40 per acre and $200 minimum. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
And our last one would be the WIDMAN A #1. Watershed's 52 acres. It's just outside of town here. It has, there we go. So it's back in, I think it's in Indian Hills Drive. It floods, where are we at here?
Right there with the roads come together.
Yeah, so it comes in through here and it floods this entire area here, gets close to their houses. These people can't park their cars at their house, they have to park at the road because it floods and they have to wait a few days. So it hasn't been, there hasn't been much about it. It has $107, it collects $137. We feel that there are 2 bus drivers that live back in there also that need to be able to get out to get the kids. So we'd like to see about raising that, and then actually start the process of go ahead and getting a job done there, which would be 900 foot of 12-inch. And it would be an estimated cost of $16,300. So we're requesting to go in red and move forward with the public hearing on this one, because it should be done here this fall if we can get it done. It's been a problem for a couple of years and it kind of got overlooked. So there's a little bit of clearing there. There's a couple big maple trees that are probably going to have to come out right on top of the tile.
So you want to go into the red after we get approval at the hearing, is what you're saying?
Or even now, so we can start planning. Up to you.
I mean, that's 100 and some years in the red if we
Mhm.
don't have the
We
hearing.
definitely
That's kind of a
need to
little
raise
excessive.
it.
Yeah.
So I think I'm okay with going in the red, but we probably have to have the hearing first.
Yeah, we can
I
definitely
mean,
do that.
you don't want to commit and then everybody comes in and say we don't want this. I mean, I don't think they will, but.
Yeah, which
Hopefully
the
not.
homeowners around there have all been out there when I've been out, and they want to move forward with it. They know the assessment will go up. But yeah.
We want a full room when we do all this, you know.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Well, we're gonna have one. Getting close.
Yep. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, I think we need to have, if you go in red, you might not get the money back if they go in the hearing again.
Right.
I think we need to have a hearing first and then go.
Okay.
I'll see, can we have the hearing next
We can
month?
have the hearing next month.
Yeah.
I'm okay with, I mean, if you can
Yeah.
let out bid, do that kind of stuff, whatever you can do to speed the process up.
Yeah, we can definitely have.
And
it
as
next
long
month.
as the hearing goes as planned, I don't see any problem with going in the red to get that fixed.
Yeah, at that point, it will only be 2.5 years. So,
I move we approve moving the rate of $40 an acre, $200 minimum on the 77500B Whitman A1, I guess.
Second that.
So moved and seconded that we go ahead and have the hearing on the Widman A1 at the proposed rate of $40 per acre and $200 minimum. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes.
That is all I have for field work report anyways.
So we'll do all these next month?
Yep.
I might be sick, I don't.
You're gonna be here, right?
There's more to come, more to come, Dave.
Huh?
There's a lot more to come.
Yeah, I know, we need it, we gotta do it. I sat here thinking when we're gonna have to start raising them to $50 an acre instead of 40. I remember we used to raise them to 20.
Yeah.
I know.
No, that was just a couple years ago.
Yeah. fine.
Dick probably remembers raising them to 5.
Any further business? Anybody else in the audience?
I did forget to mention that I went to the annual surveyors meeting and stormwater conference earlier last week. The surveyor meeting, there was a lot of sessions on GIS and section corners and drones. So one note on the drones, they are getting more effective and efficient, especially for field spraying. They had one company there who demonstrated you've probably seen Ag Pluses, maybe have seen it, their setup, they got the double decker trailer, they got a generator with bins of water, and this one company said they had enough batteries to basically perpetual flight for as long as they had fuel for the generator. And they were 5 minutes on the ground when the drone came back, and it came back for chemicals and water before it came back for batteries. And they were 5 minutes to fill the tank up, change the batteries out, and off again. Kosciuszko County they have entered into a contract to try drone spraying on some of their ditches and tiles for the first time. So next year we could check in with them to see how it went. That's about it on that. They did have a one portion on pattern tiles and the effects it has on ditches. You probably all know this, but basically recent findings are that tile patterns tend to reduce or have no effect on rain events. However, it keeps the ditches higher in between rain events. So it kind of slows out the water over time instead of having a big flash. That might not be new to you. It was new to some of the people in the meeting. The drainage conference, the main ideas were coordination, disaster planning, and disaster response. Whole system consideration, like don't just replace a chunk of tile, look at the whole system. Don't replace a culvert, look at the whole system. And then creative funding mechanisms for people who are struggling to find money. So that's about it. There are some more details on stuff that I covered if you have any questions, but a lot of it was not specifically pertinent to county regulated drains.
I guess I have one more thing that I forgot to mention. I think Jenny and I have talked about a little bit. I don't know how we do it. I don't know if we talked with Brad, but as some type of tile and fitting stockpile of ours, just because the price of tile we pay at Hickson's or Ag Plus, we're paying double from what we could actually buy pipe from Fratco right through Paul. I don't know if there's any way, and Brad or Matt may know, if we could pull some of that money, purchase, and I don't know what we'd have to do for stockpiling, but even if we have a place to stockpile, not a whole lot, but a few sticks of each what we use and some fittings and maybe standpipes, just because the event we're out replacing, I can't. Paul from Fratco helps out a lot. He'll get me stuff within a couple days sometimes, or some days, some the same day. But a lot of our funds are so low on money that I have to nickel and dime everything, try to piece things together in order to get anything done. So I don't know if there's any way we can take out of the drain fund and then as we use it, charge it back to the tile, or I'm not really sure if you guys think that's a bad idea. We don't even have a lay down yard.
I think that's a good idea, because you're just wasting, you're going back and
You're saving money.
repeating.
We're
I think
wasting.
if you can get that worked out.
Like I said, our tile prices, are, if we're here at $7.35, I guarantee it's $14 a foot from, which they have to make their money. I understand that, but with the county, you know, taxpayer money and the assessments, a lot of times, you know, we're on the straight and narrow on a lot of repair jobs. You know, I say, what can you come out here and do for me for this amount? And I'll buy the tile, but I don't know, we just kind of talked about it and thought maybe looking into it.
Fittings would be the tough part, because you got a zillion fittings.
Well, we wouldn't need that many. More just like some tees and possibly, you know, a lot of times you can make, you know, you can get a 22 out of a couple pieces of pipe or something, but tees and standpipes and, you know, just, you know, a couple 4 or 5 sticks of 10-inch, 12-inch, 15-inch, 24, just because we're paying double the price. So I used Paul a lot, and I think I was wearing him down a little bit, you know, trying to get him to bring me stuff all the time. So I thought if we could, you know, buy a trailer load of something.
Do we have anywhere we could potentially store it?
I don't know quite yet. I don't think the highway really has a lot of room. You know, they have their stuff out there. I use their facility to store the excavator and the trailer and the side-by-side, so I don't know. We'd have to figure that out, but I just kind of wanted to see what kind of idea you guys had, if that sounded good or bad. So
You might pitch it to Paul, how much time it's gonna save him. We get a better deal on it.
Yeah.
On that initial stock.
No. Other than that, that's all I have. So.
Okay. Anybody else? Meeting's adjourned.
Yeah, tax